You're kidding, right?
Nope.
I don't even know what to say. I really don't. You guys saw the beginning of this video. You saw the lead up into this. It's done already. I mean, it's done. The man is the man is happy.
Done and run.
Since the last video you guys saw, there's been a lot that has happened to this. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for all of it, so I don't have videos of all of it. But it has gone through a ton. And again, there's one happy camper sitting on it. Yeah. And we're here to just talk about everything that it's done and all the different phases it went through and what Bruce and his buddy Mike did to get it where it is.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. Yeah, so I mean, this unit was just in the weeds with 6,500 miles on it, full of leaves, and just kind of came up with this idea. You know, Joe Duncan is running that X-Racing, and he's planning on doing a bunch of it next year, but we were doing one this year, so we said, well, we can get this thing done and we can run it there.
As a ditch banger,
and actually, yeah, as a ditch banger, and see how it actually goes, because it is a 20-year-old snowmobile.
Yeah.
21.
So this is a 2004 Pro X2. It was a 600, correct?
Yep.
And again, it came from the weeds, which again, we talked about it a little bit in the first video, but it definitely has come a long way. So what is this thing? I mean, give us a brief thing, and then I guess we'll go through all the details and how it got to there.
So I just, we were trying to figure out what to use to be something different, and, and make a program out of it. And it ends up being, I had a 600R race motor around, which is what we use today in
the Snocross sleds.
In the Snocross sleds. So it's a fuel injected 600 small bore long stroke motor that we've used now, fuel injected since 21, which is a great motor. And I had one laying around, and I decided, let's see if it'll fit into this platform, and then how are we going to make it work with fuel injection, and then we got to deal with pipe and intake and all that kind of stuff.
So that's probably what people want to see first. So we'll probably go underneath the hood, and then we could kind of work our way around it. But I mean, this is where obviously what makes it super special is every time you open the hood, it just makes me laugh. And there's the new power plant. And like Bruce was saying, we put it in there just to see if it would even remotely fit and kind of just get like rough dimensions, and then
because it's not just okay, it's got 4 bolts and hold it in, because this does have a flat 4 bolt hole, so it's the closest thing that would fit compared to nowadays where everything is mounted off the edges of the motor, so completely different than this chassis. So that portion is kind of close, but then you got to make it so the pipe's going to fit, the fuel lines are going to reach, and the intake's going to work, because obviously the intake's in a different location on a hood like this compared to a race sled. A race sled, they're much tighter with a whole overstructure going over it, and the intake is much closer, and so it was. Yeah, so
starting, they just kind of set it in there, got some dimensions. Again, Bruce and his buddy Mike kind of just went through it and just made sure that all of it would potentially work. Yeah. And then as they realized that it would work, they got the motor mounted. Center to center, primary to secondary was important, because he wanted to use we want to use a race belt, because in today's world, our belts are hands down the best belts. I mean, we don't have belt issues no matter how much horsepower with all the boost stuff and 9R stuff. We just don't have any problems. Mm-hmm. So, and then the race stuff doesn't have belt problems. So I wanted to make it so that I was not using an old belt, because that wouldn't have worked well. And when I got up to the race this weekend, that was the only thing I forgot. It was a clutch pin. So center to center was exactly it. So again, race belt in there. So then they just kind of started working back from that. Once they got that set, then it was kind of airbox.
Yeah.
That was the next thing, which again, Mike and Bruce kind of came up. Normally it comes out the front here.
Yes.
And they made it come out the back and literally goes into the intake of the hood.
Yeah. So Mike, my buddy, he's a great fabricator. I mean, he can just look at something and figure out how it's going to fit. So he did even all the small aluminum welding for the neck for all this. And because, with any engine, the pipe is very important. If we change that, it's not going to perform like it did. And intake, similar. And especially nowadays when it's actually, has an air sensor and pipe sensors and all that stuff. So we didn't change like anything as far as the structure of the pipe, just angles and how it would fit in there. And can was easy because, with a race can, those small cans.
Yeah, they're super tiny.
Yeah,
I'll walk over this way.
They're tiny and you can shorten them up and it doesn't really make any difference to the motor. Obviously the big difference is this way here. So,
Right, so they had to change this little overstructure here. I don't want to call it an overstructure because it's not really an overstructure.
Yeah, this ties the shock towers together, and Pro X's have that anyway. It just wasn't shaped like that. We needed to do that to be able to get the pipe under it, and then we mounted the coil mounts, because on a race sled, the coil mounts are mounted up front like this. And then it has, all the different wiring, and this has a ton of wiring, which I can thin out afterwards. It's just, I just needed to make sure it was going to run first and run properly. So, but everything works through it, and even you guys already heard the pipe heat button.
Yeah, the hot start button.
Yeah, so all that works.
Yeah, and this was stripped down to bare frame, which I'll throw some pictures here and there, but pretty much, aside from even just all the fabricating, getting the motor in here, new chain case, new brakes. Which I know you guys aren't going to believe this because it's hard for me to believe, but that is the same chain case from 2004 in this Pro X2 that they use in the Snocross sled today.
Yeah, it's just, they've gusseted it more since then.
Like internally.
Yeah, internally, but the cover is the same cover and everything is the same. Even the brake disc, I slid the rusty old brake disc off of this and slid on a race brake disc, and it and put this is matrix brakes because they used water cooled brakes on the race sled, and I just used the matrix brake setup and even the master cylinder is matrix. Because we know those brakes are awesome.
Yeah, they work really good.
And I wasn't running this enough where I knew the brakes were going to get hot.
Right. But yeah, so they went through. The pipe is. Bruce will yank on that. That's in there. Special mounts for that. That's not going
and that's
anywhere.
Sprung in. It's the way it is on a race sled. It's sprung in the front, sprung around the little square tubing, and then the can. It is sprung like it is on a race sled. It's tight and ain't gonna move. Yeah. And then then we had, the seat that was on this was completely raggedy and all duct tape, and so I sent the foam was in tough shape too, but I pulled all the staples, sent it out to Rocks. That following week calls me up, what do you want to do? And this is how it comes back.
They did a really good job and quick. Super quick,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
Rocks really crushed it. Now, of course, we have them on the bars too.
Yep. Yeah, they had to put hand
guards on,
no question. And then these are their bars too. And I raced it this past weekend in 4 classes in ditch banger, and it was the bars were a big deal.
What's going on there?
Wow, there's something in there.
Yeah, there's something in there.
Yeah.
So you guys can see from this side of it. This is another, interesting because again the fuel pumps and everything are in the tank, so the race sleds just like they are the trail sleds. So it was like, okay, what are we going to do for that? So anyway, Bruce and Mike decided to carcass the old tank and put a race tank in it and mount the race tank in there just underneath everything.
Yeah. No.
So you have fuel pump, everything, all your sensor, everything wires ran the same way.
Yeah. And it's mounted in with the same mounts from a race sled, so it's in tight. Fuel line length is a big deal. I remember from years ago they talked about fuel line length being an issue with, if you change that kind of stuff. So this is all untouched,
factory length,
snapped in, and then I cut the front of the tank off and just slid it over so it still was comfortable to sit on, or as comfortable as these could be. Let's put it that way. And then and riding it this weekend, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable. I rode a lot of edge stuff, and I never rode one that felt like this. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And it felt light, because we had pulled a few things off here and there, and it definitely adds up.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of work went into just getting this in here. It's not a plug and play deal.
Yeah.
So Bruce and Mike really.
A lot of fabricating.
Yeah.
A lot of fabricating, but it worked. I mean, it's like pull the cord and we'll go into the suspension now. But
yeah, I mean, clutching, you clutch it the same as his race sleds.
The same as a race sled. Yeah. Same weight.
And it sounds, as you guys notice, sounds exactly the same.
Yep.
Which is crazy. Definitely the only thing, I guess, mechanical that he didn't do was just a hood harness.
Yeah.
So we don't have a gauge set up yet, but we will be. That's in the works already. So.
Yeah, I plugged a race hood in just to make sure everything worked and gauge worked, headlights work. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to put a digital gauge in the dash and put some LED lights in it. Put an LED tail light in it. So.
Yep, bring it up to snuff. And again, a new belly pan. The old one was a little crunchy.
Yeah, Al Snowmobile had a really good edge pan, so I bought it and put it on. So that's the only reason why it says 800 on it. That solidified things really good.
Yeah, and then as we move on, we know we can't leave suspension alone. We could probably close that hood, which was not in the best shape.
No, this thing was on the ground.
I mean, it was brutal. So everything came off again down to just bare frame. Bruce went through the shocks in the front. Those are factory shocks.
It was a factory shock with a newer clicker. That clicker is like a 15-click clicker that actually did work. The early ones were 6-click and they didn't really do anything. So I did keep that the same, but I cleaned everything up, resealed it, valved them rigid, and then put straight rate springs on it, because the springs that were on it are those dual rate springs, and these fronts used to be right on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is, I don't know, it's probably hard to tell in the picture, but it's up in the air pretty good.
Yeah, no sway bar.
Yeah, so no sway bar.
I sprung it for no sway bar, and and it turned really good, and and that was good soft snow this weekend, so it was nice to dash into.
He went even to putting the exhaust deflector on it from a race sled.
Yeah, because in the old days, that was the thing. We started to have problems with them because these guys, we would jump into the face of a jump, and it would stuff the exhaust pipe full of snow.
Right.
And they'd wonder why the thing would bog or whatever. Well, I mean, it was a thing. So that was something else you had to do.
Yep. So front end wise, you had to get new radius arms.
Yeah, I had a buddy make me some lower radius arms, so I couldn't find any good ones.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, Mark did a great job with those. Turned them right around, brought them in, left hand, right hand, so I could just adjust them just like factory.
Yeah.
Race car stuff. He does a lot of race car stuff.
Yep. All the race car guys. The only thing that he wasn't able to find really, which, I mean, internet, if you want to do your thing here, are trailing arms. Yeah. He would like some new trailing arms. They're not in the best shape, but we just couldn't find any.
Yeah, I mean, and actually looking at the part up, one side is still available.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So then I went back to a race sled. I'm like, well, maybe a 440 race sled. Those were red. Maybe those are there. One side is available, and it's the same side. So it's like, evidently everybody wrecked one side of those snowmobiles because there's only one side left.
Yeah. So if you guys have a really good set or know of a good set, let me know. Put it down in the comments or shoot me a message. See if we can get this old girl some new trailing arms.
Yeah, I had to pound the spindles out of them and clean everything
because they were just solid.
And now just sitting there, I mean, obviously it's not hard, but I mean, everything freed up nice. Yeah.
And then probably one of the coolest things, which maybe we'll tip it up on its side so we get a little bit better view.
Yeah, rear suspension wise, I knew 121 wasn't gonna do the job.
All right,
that's for sure.
Well, I might have to put the phone down for this one. Ready?
Yeah, so I went.
So rear suspension wise, looks a little different here. I mean, people are probably looking at it going, man, that looks a little longer. So Bruce knew that a 121 was not going to do what it needed to do. So he ended up going to a 129, which he had sitting up in the secret.
Yep, I had 3 different suspensions. Yep.
So he ended up kind of taking them all and morphing it together and putting an older race skid together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 129 race skid that they used to use.
Yeah, it's a 128 race skid.
Oh, yeah, 8.
And so I had to change, because it's a race front torque arm, but again, that chassis is an inch narrower than this one, so that proposed a problem. So I had to re-bush and do that stuff.
Yeah, had some bushings made.
And then Pro X just used little rods here. The race sled used
Big ones like
the
that.
big bars, so I did that. I put together a Fox shock for the tail that was an old Snocross shock, and then
That he had laying around.
yeah, some titanium springs for Pro X I had laying around. Yeah.
And then a today's day and age front track shock.
Yeah, that's right off of today's race sled. Yeah.
Not valve, it's
Nope.
just how they are.
Just how they are, because I knew it would need it. Yeah. And
So-
but this track is a 129 because this is a Skidoo track.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I had to change the drivers anyway.
Right.
And I needed to go anti-ratchet. So Wall Brothers, they had some 6-inch anti-ratchet stuff, so I put those on.
286 pitch now, right?
Yeah, 286 pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it did, and it was. I mean, right out of the gate, it was good.
Yeah.
Good
And these,
fun.
I believe, are Ice Age rails?
This rail is a Polaris rail.
Oh, it is a Polaris rail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have some 128 Ice Age rails too, though. That they're already done black. Maybe over the summer I'll. No, maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so he got it to fit. It was definitely a little tight. He did some skid moving as well.
Yeah, I had to do that because of the tunnel coolers to this track. Wasn't really made for that height track back then, but it does it, and it needed it though.
Yeah.
It really needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I could flip it back up. We could go over the end of the tunnel. I guess that would be the last piece of this puzzle here. Look at this old girl.
Yeah. So we
Obviously had to extend the tunnel a little bit, going to a 128 or 129, whatever you want to call it.
yeah
So they went through and did some more fabricating and lengthened it up, and
put tail on it.
even running a today's day and age
Yeah.
snow flap.
A little mix of this and a mix of that. But
Working tether.
yeah.
Again, working hot start button.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I mean, like super fun.
Yeah, so Bruce went to that ditch banger race and raced it this past weekend up at Tenny Mountain. X Racing put on, and I just worked really well, right?
Just worked really good. I mean, just like I turned the springs up on it. That was all I did.
Yeah.
And then tighten the track and tighten the chain and tighten the belt. Yeah. It was.
So this project has definitely gotten out of hand.
Yeah, I'd say.
But it's a super cool one. Again, the only other time I've seen a newer engine, especially a race sled engine, get put in, I believe was Thien Motorsports did one a couple of years ago for Elias Ischel to run the ditch banger, I believe it was. That was a super cool build. So really cool to watch Bruce kind of put this together, and him and Mike, put their heart and soul into it. Bruce put a lot of time into this. So did Mike.
Yeah.
So to see it again together and him go out and everything was perfect. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
now the wheels are turning for other things. So you never know. You never know what might be down the road, or
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just a little nudge. A little nudge.
Yeah.
But yeah, super cool. Unfortunately, we don't have any more snow, so I probably won't be able to get on it this year. But that's gonna do it. Unless you got anything else.
No, that's it. That's all.
So,
I want to thank all the guys that usually help us. And when I needed something, they had it and helped me out.
Yep.
And it was, Rocks did a great job on everything, and Wall Brothers had what I needed, and just any of the guys that I call up with stuff, it's like you always find that thing you need, except trailing arms.
Yep. So again, if you guys know of any, let me know. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Don't look at that 700. That video is coming soon. And see you guys in the next one.